And as far as Nano Battle, it's a series of modular packs that's all part of a simultaneous tactical combat game. And it's for 1 to 2 players, but it's expandable. So the more packs you have, the more players, up to 6. And you control these little dudes in an arena that's always changing, trying to close the rifts. Nice. So I love Warhammer. I love the lore, and I love all that kind of stuff. The wargaming side of me has it's been with me since as far as I can remember. The older dudes at the game shop letting me, touch and play with all the little figures on the battlefield. And my biggest problem with it was always the accessibility. I never had the time to paint them or really, collect them or be able to afford to collect them. And then when I did have my own armies, it was always just such a struggle to schedule that 2 to 4 hour time frame to really get into it and have these big epic battles. I would, and they were really fun, but just not often enough for me. So Nano Battle is kind of the distillation of everything that I love about tactical warfare, down into the close quarter combat where it's the moment to moment battle of these two individuals or a few just really duking it out with timing and the real tactics of it, not the you shoot I shoot kind of thing, but really going through it and dodging, ducking, diving, and just getting into it, roughing each other up. And that was combined with my forever love of quarter machine toys. I was always uh, begging my dad to let me get another little homie or a little dinosaur or those little ninjas, whatever it was, at the store, and they were everywhere in the 80s, 90s when I grew up. And so my pockets were always full of those, and I would make up my own little games where we would just roll dice to see who would get higher and who would have the last little figure standing. So that was always in the back of my mind, and it kind of just bubbled up as COVID hit and I had idle hands, and so this game development started to really start to take a turn a couple of years ago, and now here we are, ready to go. Alpha, yeah. Yeah, he thanks. Battle damage, it kind of goes hand in hand with the story that I'm trying to tell across all of the packs. Like these are little creatures. They're alive when they're not in our hands in what I call the nanoverse, and so they're in this life, this struggle of life and death, and just constantly fighting. So some of them don't always make it out of a scrap, fully intact. And so battle damage is kind of my way to have a really cool kind of chase figures going on in each pack where you never know really what you're going to get, and you might get a clean simple one, or you might get the one with his chest blown off. So it's a 1 in 3 chance in every pack and every color figure that you might get a battle damage one instead, and just lets you know that they've seen some things. Right, so I've already invested quite a bit into Nano Battle as a whole. We already have Alpha's mold; he's already complete and ready to go. They actually already are making the figures. They're just waiting on my final go ahead for all of the print material, and then the final deposit. And as far as all that goes, um, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Uh, with all the design stuff going, our goal for the Kickstarter is 15,000, and that's literally almost not exact, but it's almost exactly what I need to get the rest of the funding going for the first 3 Nano Battle packs, which is the uh, the first Rumble pack that has the black and white Alpha in them, and then the first Alpha Nanoid pack that has the colorful versions of those, and then the first Chapter Story pack, which is it's a unique pack that combines everything that you have in your collection, whatever it may be, and makes this narrative gameplay mode that you can, mix and match all these different things and really tailor your experience to your collection. And you're never really missing out, but whenever you have something else, it's just going to add more to that experience in what you're doing because each pack is tailored to the characters that are involved in it. So it's a really cool thing I got going. Hope people enjoy it. I just want to play more often, really. It's one of those things that I love sitting down and playing board games with people. And, it's always great to have like those game nights. But one of the things I loved as a kid was just, finding out somebody had a deck of Pokemon cards or, their favorite Magic deck, in their back pocket. And all of a sudden it was on and you could play. And, that was at school before they were banned and things like that. So you could have a game anywhere. So in that spirit, I wanted to make sure that Nano Battle was always this pocketable experience that you can shove a couple of figures in there. The core pieces that you need for a match, and if you find somebody that has a battle pack, it's on. But even without that, the pack can hold enough for two players. So if somebody's interested in what you got going on, it's really easy to just bust it out and play it right there on the spot. And so that's kind of the spirit of it, is just take it anywhere, play with it anywhere. These little creatures are all over the world, ready to fight. Definitely. Right. Yeah, a lot of 80s, 90s. Right, right. So in 2007, I really started painting a lot more figures and really digging into the hobby of it all, and airbrush, all the different things that surround the hobby environment. I was building skills while I was in college. Going through courses and just kind of wasting my time at the time. But it became so much more when people started asking me about hey, I really liked what you were doing with this Galvatron figure, or or this Spider-Man. Could you do this for me? How much would it cost? And so it kind of organically became this thing where I was taking commissions, and from the commissions, just word got out, and eventually a friend of mine, reached out and said, "Hey, I'm doing some prototype work, but I don't have enough time to do all of it. Would you like, to work with me besides me on this project?" And so I was super excited to do that, and it went into me doing prototype work, making displays for companies, and even going to conventions like Comic-Con and sitting on a panel and explaining the production process on how figures go from a prototype plastic to 3D printed samples that we paint, and then all the way to full production, making it happen. And from those skills, it became something that after I graduated, I was able to secure a an actual salary position where I was working on different toy lines for companies, and a lot of licensed work like DC, Marvel, even WWE for a time, making all kinds of stuff, not just like figures, the whole gamut of toys and play sets and things like that. But I always loved action figures and the small little figures, so I always kind of gravitated back towards that whenever I had the opportunity, or my hands got to it. Right. So yeah, so the Rumble Pack is kind of the core experience of Nano Battle. This is the first one, of course, but each Rumble Pack will have its own arena, and the pack will match that arena, so it'll be easy to identify. And each Rumble Pack has just enough for you to play, right as soon as you open it with somebody else, or to play it solo completely, autonomously with a wild AI nanoid. And with that, um, the whole nature of it with the rumble packs, there's several types of packs, but the rumble pack is really kind of the starter pack, and any rumble pack, no matter what the title or version that comes out, is a starter pack. You can start with that one and then go from there, and it'll always be the same sort of game. You just, the arena itself is a little different in the nanoids. Right. Right, yeah, so the nano fields, they as far as the spectrum of colors that I picked, it's mildly inspired by Power Rangers, but the reason I did the several colors is because nobody likes, just opening a box of plain plastic figures. And with these guys, it's kind of with built into the story and the lore of, why they're uh, that color or the different colors, what's going on. But within the nanoverse and the nano fields, it really plays into the color of the nanoid and how much power they're pulling from the arena as they're battling. And with that, each one being a nice solid color, it's really just my way of making sure that when somebody opens a pack, they don't feel like they have to paint a figure. I want them to want to paint those figures because they're theirs. But having them all a bunch of different solid colors really lets you be able to, share the figures with whoever you're playing with. And because they're a durable PVC in the solid color, you don't have any worries about them breaking on you. And, they become these fun little toys more so than just these little miniatures that are going to be always on your shelf. I want you to, throw them in the pack, throw them in your bag, and, get going and, play anywhere, you want. Right. It's really one of those things that's kind of experiential. Like when I open a game, it's rarely that I open a game in front of like a group of people and there's the oohs and the ahs. So it's a personal experience. You open a pack, you start exploring all of the different pieces. And I didn't want it to feel overwhelming. There's only 18 cards in a pack, in a rumble pack with the 7 nano fields and the 2 figures and dice. And so, you're exploring the pack, looking at everything, learning, the ins and outs of these creatures in this arena that you have. And it's a personal experience. And the Rumble Pack kind of serves as a tutorial for yourself when you open it. And each Rumble Pack is different. So the first time you open it, being able to have that solo mode, right there ready to go is kind of a built-in tutorial system. And the Rumble Pack has that perfect, the black and the white. It's like a spy versus spy. You instantly have, the doppelganger of the nano you're going to command, ready to shadow box you while you learn the ins and outs and the specific tactics that'll help you gain that edge when you actually play against other people. And just being able to have that solo mode and get you ready for the big fight before you start going at everybody else seemed like just the perfect way to do it. And making the packs as small as they are, it kind of lended itself hand in hand to what I wanted to make it, with being as portable as possible while still offering that experience. And being able to play solo or 2 players with that single pack means that you can play it with or without anybody. That how you like playing the way you want to play. And that's kind of how Nano Battle really started with me, is just I want to play something, and if I want to play it now, let's Nano Battle. Oh. And so we are doing it a little differently. From the get-go, I'm trying to make it as high quality of a product as possible, so that the UV spot printing, the nice finish on the box. I'm doing matte finish on the cards. The figures are as crisp and clean as they can be. All of that is going to be as best of quality that the factory could give me, within the price frame that I'm trying to make sure that it's affordable and it can stay modular without expanding too far beyond its limits. So with the Kickstarter, our target goal for the first 3 packs, the Alpha pack, the Hexagon Rumble, and the first Story pack, it's going to be 15,000. And then after that, anytime we reach the next 15,000, so at 30,000, we'll unlock a new Nanoid character. And with that, the Rumble pack and the Nanoid pack that will contain that Nanoid, and those will be added as add-ons, so that you'll always be able to choose the tier that you want. And then once you get the heads up that, hey, we reached the goal, you'll be able to go back into your pledge manager and update it, with the character that you see, next one is one you dig, and you can just add it to your collection, and it'll be right at your doorstep with everything all at once. We're going to be doing that for the first 4 figures that I designed. That's Alpha,
Mm-hmm.
the robot, um, Ninjak, our pumpkin-headed ninja guy, Blastrid, who's our Viking cherry bomb throwing crazy woman, and Trex, who's our space biker dinosaur. And then from there, we're gonna introduce 2 more packs. One's called a Megaloid pack, which gives us, instead of, our figures are 2.75 inches, or sorry, 1.75 inches tall. And there's
Yeah.
Megaloid ones that are going to be 2.5 inches, and they kind of serve as bad guys, and they become this co-op experience where you're hunting them down and trying to stop them in the nanoverse. They have their evil plans to sort out, but they're not really evil, because if you defeat them, they can join your team as well in story mode. And with those, just like other packs, they come with cards that let you fold them into the story mode, or you can just play
Yeah.
it, by itself as the Megoid hunt mode. And then the last pack will be the what I call Animoids right now, and they're kind of my take on Pokemon. These guys are Pokemon-esque in that they fight and all of that, but these guys have their own little buddies, these animal creatures, and they'll be smaller minifigures that will come with several different kinds in a pack, and they'll all play into the system the same way, where you don't really need too many cards to go at it, and they'll always act wild. So whatever the dice roll you currently have with your active nanoid, their animoid buddy will in turn behave in a certain way on the battlefield, which can be positive or negative results depending on what's going on. And as far as the rest of the unlocks, we'll see how far we get, but that's what I have planned initially. But we can go farther, because like you said, I have about 10 nanoids already sculpted, and the other packs are ready to go. I've been staying really busy and really organized, and we have a lot of project folders, and uh, the nanoids are ready to bust out of the rifts and straight into people's pockets.
Okay. And did you figure out how long do you want the project to run?
The Kickstarter project?
Yeah.
It'll be 30 days. We're hoping towards the end of October right now. We just got the Kickstarter launch page approved, so we put that out, and we're already up to, I think we're at 20 followers within an hour or two, so that's nice. But yeah, we'll be ending it just after Thanksgiving, most likely. So it's a good time right before, the holidays. Hopefully everyone's can see the project, in between these times. I know it gets busy. But yeah, there's a lot of Nano Battle to be had, so I hope everyone checks it out.
All right. So what we've learned is that you have a large project on the horizon, but it's pretty much been play tested. And how did the community get involved in all that?
It's a lot of local. So I have a lot of friends that love, like Magic, Pokemon, things like that. So playing games and then having it have an intrinsic solo mode helps a lot with late night play testing. I'm able to, create a digital version like the one we'll play, different permutations and adding things in. So we're able to just send that link out to people when we update, play test it. Matches, are pretty short, so it's really easy to try something out, see if it works, and then switch gears and change the numbers just to balance the experience, so that nothing's too overpowered, but it's still kind of enough wiggle room where you can still have those gotcha moments and really blow someone away.
Okay. Well, if you're ready, we can actually switch over to the game and you can kind of go over the rules with me and for all the viewers that are watching, and we can play a couple different rounds and stuff like that.
Okay, sure thing.
Right.
All right, so you're in landscape view already?
Yes, yes. I have landscape view open. I see your little tracker.
Right. So yeah, this is the back of the Spark card that we have underneath each nanoid, and so this card serves as the basics quick setup. The manual itself is just as small as the cards, so there's a lot packed into it, but I wanted to make sure that the cards themselves were self-explanatory so that you could get going and playing, right away as soon as you're reading everything, and just, start battling. So with
Okay.
the setup, we already have everything set up for a 2-player match. Everybody always has the 6 command cards. It's the same command cards, 1 through 6. And they are all of the actions that a nanoid can activate during Nano Battle. And then we have the Nano Field factions. So on each Nano Field hex, there's a center hexagon that will either have something specific to the Nano Fields. In this case, it's the power nodes, which are always pertinent, but also the spark nodes. And I try to keep it simple for the first version. It's a simple just power fluctuation of their life force. So, up or down a couple of sparks, but you can push each other onto these nodes for different effects, or try to, gain an upper hand and, get a little more life if you have the right command at the right time to, to make that move. But with the factions, um, if you're not on your faction, you don't get any bonus power to your nanoid. You only have the base power that your nanoid has, and if it's a special move, whatever the modifier is. But if you are on your faction, you'll unlock that nano field hex's power. And then there's also alliances where if you're on an adjacent faction, if you're on a your non-faction hex, but are next to your faction, there's an alliance and you'll get power from there. And then if it doesn't have any sort of faction on it, you can get the power. It's a neutral zone, so the nanoids get full power there. And then the power will always be for a rumble pack with the black and white nanoids. It'll always be whatever the face is currently on your nanoid at the time of that attack's activation, right at the last moment. So with the black and white nanoids, the story goes that since they're packed into the pack with the nano fields, it makes them unstable. So instead of being one of the core colors, they're colorless, but they have an unstable power core. And so you see as the battle goes, the power fluctuates every time you're attacked and you're defending. Your armor fluctuates your power source. And so it's got a little bit of randomization that kind of keeps you on your toes. So even if you think you have the right plan of action, you're still going to have to keep your wits about you as you go through.
Okay. And so let's go over the character card, and you can kind of just describe that a little bit.
Yeah, so each nanoid has a nanoid ID with the number on the top of the card will match the number that's on the bottom of their foot. And in the top left corner is their starting spark value. It's in this game, instead of hearts or life, these creatures are inanimate. We don't really know what they are at this point. They're just little rubber figures that when we put them on nanofields, they spring to life, and by our commands will take action. But whenever they're hit, their power fluctuates and sparks go flying. Just kind of like in a Power Ranger show where you get every time you see a punch, there's sparks going, all that. It's that same sort of idea. And with that, they also have an armor value. And so anytime you're attacked, whatever your armor value is, you can roll the dice. And in the game, dice rolls, the lower the dice roll, usually the better. So with this, if it's 4 or higher, the power or the armor will fail. But you can always check that whenever you're attacked. And below the sparks is your faction. For Alpha, he's part of the Atomic faction, which is predominantly robots roaming around the nanoverse, causing mischief. And next to that is their range, which is how far he can move. So he's not that fast being a little robot. He can only move 1 hexagon space at a time. And then next to that, the little color wheel is his power. And on a black or a white one, it's a pinwheel of color, because just to let you know that there is the fluctuation of them with the dice roll. But any pink, blue, red, yellow, or green figure, that's going to be a solid color, and their power doesn't fluctuate. They're stabilized nanoids, so they'll always get that power as long as they're on a faction or in a faction alliance hex. And then below that, we have their skill. For Alpha, in this version, he has Lucky Bolts, which lets him, you can re-roll any dice roll once for them, whether it's armor, an attack, things like that. And then below that are our special moves. So each nanoid will have a super, a mega, and an ultra special move. And those moves are activated by your card number 5 or number 6. And they're the core of the nanoid and how they function. With Alpha, it's you can see that he's got a rocket punch, so his fist will actually rocket off and has a range of 2, and he'll push a nanoid. Kind of like the fist will be coming out of nowhere, and you can push them onto a hex maybe with a negative spark modifier, something like that. And then the standard power shot, giving you a boost of power with some good range. And then whenever you are on a faction field that has your nano field with your faction, and you use your card number 6, the mega, you can rotate it for an ultra attack. And those attacks always have a bit of a gambit to them. You'll roll the dice, and with his, it's really powerful already. But if you get a 4 or
Yeah.
higher, you get an extra power at the cost of it kind of overloading and giving you a -1 spark right off the bat. And that's
Okay.
pretty much it. Every nanoid has its own thing going on with them. If it's the same model, it'll have the same card, just a different color matching the figure.
Okay. So what we'll do is you can start. You'll help me get set up, and we'll play through. You may have to tell me if I'm doing the right thing or not.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll select our dice, and I believe the button is F to roll. And then the lowest will be able to put their nanoid on the field first. And you can re-roll if you want, because he is alpha.
Okay, and that's what his little power is. It says may re-roll any one.
Yeah, so I'm using icons on these guys. You can kind of see on the, let's see if I can pull this out. I think I
On the
locked it, but if
spark
you look
card?
at full screen on the spark gauge, yeah, it has a little guideline for all of the icons that we were going over. But yeah, anytime you see a little square with the 1, that's a dice roll. So you would roll 1 die 1 time for that.
Okay. And so I got a 6.
Yeah, so I would go first now since my roll's lower. So the dice kind of relate to like seconds in time, because when the nanoids
Okay.
are on the nano fields, there's a bit of a time distortion going on there. They're battling in this space. It's there's a bit of story to it in the story mode and why it's taking place and what's actually happening. But just know that the dice link you and your nanoid as the nanoid operator in Nano Battle. And so since I
All
have a
right.
4, I'll be placing my black nanoid first. So I'll just
Okay.
select a spot and place my little floating robot head on it. And so
Okay.
you'll notice that it does have a negative spark, but because we are just placing our nanoids to start, there is no actual activating of any of the things on the nano fields just yet. And so you'll be
Okay.
able to place your nanoid on any hex on the outer ring at least 1 space apart from me. So it doesn't have to be
Okay.
exactly opposite. It can be anywhere on there.
As long as it's 1 space away. So like right here's
Right.
fine.
Yeah, you can't just have them right next to each other.
Okay. All right. Well, I got my guy down.
Okay, and from here we're ready to battle. So you just pick a command card, and I do the same, and we'll drop it into the activation zone, and it'll play
Okay.
face down. And we're both ready. We'll reveal.
Right. So does it automatically place it face down? Oh yeah, it does. Okay. Cool.
Yep. And so then we'll reveal them. And so if you're playing up to 6 players, there's the reason there's 6 cards is so that 6 players will always, there's always 6 choices, and then anytime, like in this instance, we'll automatically our nanoids will glitch because they got the same command and they can't activate on it at exactly the same time. So yeah, so we'll
Okay.
roll the dice, and then whoever has the lowest will re-roll this one. And so you'll
Okay.
be able to dash first, and that's you can move, to any one of the adjacent fields.
All right. And I can flip it face up before moving. So it says move towards the closest face down hex. If none are face down, endure.
Okay, yeah. So any
Okay.
hex or any of the blue text on a command card is actually for the solo mode, or if a nanoid has gone wild. So as we're
Oh,
battling,
okay.
we have this link to the nanoids that's keeping them under control and under our command. But if we ever run out of our command cards as we play, once they become wild, they'll actually only follow the blue text on the card, and that's the built-in AI that we were talking about for solo
Nice.
mode and also as part of the game mode.
All right. So I've dashed to this hex right here.
Okay, and I'm gonna go to the center, and then we'll pick another card.
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
All right, let's flip. Great minds think alike. So yep, so we glitch again. Just do a roll off, and you beat
Okay.
me again. So you get to attack first, and so when you're attacking, you'll always count up your total power score. And so with you, you're on an adjacent hex to your faction, so you do get power from this. And you're
Okay.
currently at a 2 or a pink. So you'll be adding this one to
Okay.
your base power, and so that's the total power of your attack for this activation. And so for
Okay.
me, I'll roll the dice once. I failed the first armor roll, I'll re-roll, and I failed it again, so I'll take 2 damage.
All right. And
The
the attack point is the diamond that has the 6 colors, right? or is it the one that says 1? I know they all say 1, but it's the
On
open
your
face
card.
one.
So it's the one, the color wheel.
Okay, that's what I was
Yes,
thinking. Okay,
that's your power. Yeah, the one that's on white, that's that's your range. So some nanoids are a lot faster than alpha,
yeah.
and it'll play into larger fields where you can cover some ground for objectives and things like that. Where
Okay.
the first go, I figured it more methodical robots battling it out. Some rumble in the jungle here for these robots would be the best choice
Yeah.
going. So
And
now
so
I'll attack in turn.
let's talk about your armor roll and what you did for that. Because you were talking about how you failed your first one and stuff like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So my
So
attack went through at 2 damage, and so you rolled twice to see if you blocked it.
right, the first was a fail, and then I used my lucky bolts skill to re-roll it, and I still failed, but that's okay. And now I'm at a red power, and because the armor failed, I took the full 2 points of damage. And now the interesting
Okay.
part is maybe I shouldn't have re-rolled, because now where I'm at when I attack, I am now at a -2 modifier because I am also adjacent to our factions.
Yeah.
So my power attack, there's no attack essentially at this point. So we can
Okay.
actually go, and now it'll move on to the next card.
Okay. Sorry, we'll move that over. All right, so now we get to pick our next one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. There we go. All right, so run and super. So super's lower, or sorry, run's lower, so I'll be going first, and I'll be
Okay.
moving, guess right to here. Can't do any wrong on your own faction. And so I moved, so for run, it's move up to X nanofields, and X is your range. And then any
Yes.
fields that are face down, you'll flip them up before you move to that field.
Okay. All
And then,
right.
sorry,
And
something I didn't mention before is that, yeah, every card actually has two commands on it. And so you're always able to rotate the card if you would like to. If I can remember what,
okay.
I think rotate is the E shortcut. Yeah. So you can always decide to reveal a card, whatever card when you reveal it face up, the top action or the top command is the one that you'll activate. But before you activate, you can always rotate it once before you activate. So for
Okay.
me, I chose run. The run card is actually the only unique one that kind of doesn't have a full function outside of team battle. The other function is swap, where you can actually swap out your nanoid for another less injured nanoid.
Yeah.
But in your instance, if you didn't want to do a super attack, you could cover a lot more ground with sprint, which increases your range by 1. So the only way that you would be able to have your alpha figure move 2 nanofields across the arena.
Okay. All right.
And
And so
so I
now
moved.
you moved, so I'll now activate my super, which is a range of 2, and it's
Right.
rocket punch, attack push, move target 1 hex away. So it's +1, as that's to my attack, so it's 2 damage, right?
Right, you'll have the +1 for the special move, and then you'll have your base power, and then whatever the power is on the field if you have access. And so you're
Okay.
still adjacent the faction alliance, so you're at 3 total power for this attack.
Okay. And so
And
now
so
you'll
I'll go ahead
roll.
and right. See, so I
And
rolled a 4. Let me try one more time with lucky bolts. All right, so this time it
okay.
was a good one, and so that reduces the damage by my armor, which is 1. So I'll take the
So
2
you'll
damage.
okay.
And then you can push me. So this is the only spot you can push me. So we're going to flip that
Yeah.
over. And then this is one of those instances where it worked in my favor. I landed on a spark node, and those read when a nanoid stops on a hex with a spark node, gain or lose that many sparks up to their max. So this one's a
Okay.
+2. So I'll go up to 2.
Okay.
Lose some, get some, and now we know where that hex is if you need to exploit it for your own gain.
Exactly. So there's never really a feeling of if one person gets too far ahead, because there is advantages while you're on the field of gaining
Correct.
more health or losing health, and that could be part of the strategy.
Yeah, and then that was my main goal with the first pack. I didn't want it to be over too quick. Some of the other Rumble packs, there is no positive outcome with the extra center node besides the factions. So the next pack with Ninjak is you're in the woodland area and there's razor vines. So if you get pushed onto a razor vine, you immediately take action damage, and then you would have to actually do a save roll to try to escape those vines or receive more damage and be stopped in your tracks. So you can get stuck, and there's other nano fields that offer like extra armor or a full on cover fire from any
Okay.
sort of ranged attack, things like that.
Okay. And so now we'll choose our next one, right?
Right. So
All right. I think I'm ready.
let's reveal them.
There we go.
All right, so
we
this
both
is
did it
one
again.
where, yeah, we're tied and we can roll off just to see who activates first.
Okay. Well,
Still tied, one more.
all right, so you go first.
All right, so with this one, it's dodge, which will dodge any, you can't be the target of any attack, super, mega, ultra, this activation. But you can rotate it, and you'll be using boost in that instance, which gives you +1 power or range to your next activation.
Okay.
So something like this where we didn't attack each other, it's probably better to boost up
So
for
we
the
both
next
would
one.
boost. Okay.
Right,
Because then
so
that
we'll go on
sets
to
us
the
up for the
next
next
card.
one.
Right.
Okay.
All right, let's
All right.
reveal. All right. So you get to run, but there's
Yes,
nowhere
so
to
I'll
hide.
run. I can move up to X nano fields. And so I can move 1. So I will move to this one right here that's hidden. And so that's going to be the end of my activation, correct?
Correct. And so
So I
all
would
the
gain, I would potentially gain 1, but I can't because I'm already at full health.
correct, yeah. And so I'll be activating super, and I am at 1, which is gray, so that's not great for me. And so it's the +1/+1. I am adjacent, like I said, so it's -2. So the only thing that you'll really get is I will be able to push you. And since I can't
Yeah.
make you go any farther than the outer ring, you'll automatically receive the 1 damage.
Okay. So I'll take 1 damage. So I'm on 9 now.
Right. Okay, and our
Okay.
last card,
All right.
let's reveal.
Okay.
Mega. So we'll roll off to
Okay.
see who goes.
Okay. And I'll go first.
Go for it.
All right. So I can only. So I'm boosted from the last round. No, I'm not.
No, not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are using your power shot attack. So you do get
Yes. So I'll use.
+2 and
So +2. I'm not near an adjacent field, so I don't get any bonuses from the field itself.
it's a non-faction one, so you would, but in this case you are blue, so it is 0 either way.
Yes. So it's 0. Range of 1. I can't attack you because I'm not close enough.
No, you're good. You're on the mega, it's range 3.
Oh, it says 3. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Looking
you're
at the
using
wrong
the power
one.
shot.
Okay, so I will
Yeah,
do.
so it's your
3
+2
damage.
plus your base power, so you're at 3
3.
total power. So I'll go ahead and roll to check my armor, and so my armor worked. So
Yep, so you
I
take 2
only
damage.
get the 2, so I'm at 6 now. And so I'll activate my mega as well.
Okay.
And that reroll for the armor, I was at red, so it would have been +1, but now it's at +0, just like you. So it'll be the same. We'll be doing 3 damage to you unless you can get an armor save.
Okay, and I got to roll lower than you, right?
And you just need to get lower than, or 1, 2, or 3. 4, 5, or 6 is a fail.
All right, I failed.
But you can reroll.
Okay. Okay, because of my Lucky Bolt skill.
Right.
Still failed.
Still got
so
him.
that takes 3 damage.
Correct.
All right, so then I'm down to 6 now. So we're
Right,
pretty much even.
all our cards.
Okay.
And when this happens, the rift that we're trying to close detects that we are actively trying to stop it, by having our nanoids battle. So the last card becomes disabled this round.
All right.
And so then we'll take the rest of the cards. You can do, I think it's shift click to select all of them. And then you can throw them back into your hand, and they'll go face down for me, so I can't see them.
Okay.
And then we'll continue. This is the next round. We have less choices. We both know that we can't use a mega or an ultra attack anymore.
Yeah.
That's a pretty amateur move on my part, I have to say. Usually you want to have a card that's not so much of a bruiser disabled so early in the match. But that's okay. We'll still see who can come out. We're still tied. So let's go ahead and select another command.
Okay, give me just 1 second.
Go.
I was just disabling our cameras on the picture for right now, just because it's getting in the way a little bit. But now we're here, so I will choose my first one. And I am going to go with this one. And I'm ready.
All right, let's reveal. All right,
All
so,
right, so you get to go
now.
first.
Right on. We going into the center.
Okay.
And I should know that 2 nanoids can't occupy the same hex, but it's a maximum of 2.
Okay. All
and
right.
Then for your
so now I get to choose.
Right, and your run isn't optional. You don't have to move if you don't want to. With dash, you do have to dash. It's like you're jumping kind of out of the way onto another hex.
So I am going to move to this one so I can be near our adjacent tile.
All right, let's go ahead and pick another command.
Okay.
Go ahead. All right, let's reveal.
Okay. So I'll go first.
Right. And so you can either boost or dodge. But I'm
going to choose dodge.
Okay, so my attack is completely negated. You just
Yes, that's right.
spoiled my plans, and I had a lot of power spent or built up too. All right, so now next card, reveal.
Okay, so we glitched.
So let's roll it.
So you'll go first.
Alrighty, so I'm at red. Darn, so it's -2 power. So it's another one of those. I'm not doing any damage, but I am going to push you into the wall. I can't push you to the side.
Damage.
Yeah, so you'll take 1 damage.
All right, and so then I will be here. I'm green, so I get +1 to my attack from the super. So it's going to be 3 damage total.
Mm-hmm. So let me roll for my armor. So it'll be 2.
Okay.
So I'm at 4, and then you get to push me 1 hex away. So either of these 3 hexes.
You're going to go to this one right here. So you lose another one.
All right. Yeah, so 1 more spark down.
That's right. I'm learning. Right.
So let's go with the next command.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, let's reveal. All right. And so you can either, well, you're not going to attack, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate mine. So it'll be a boost.
Yeah, so I have Endure up is what's on mine.
Yeah, at the time of activation, you can rotate it. So if you don't want to Endure, you can dash to another hex.
Okay. No, I'm going to stay where I'm at.
All right. Let's reveal the last card. Now run again.
Now I get to go first since mine's lower.
All right.
But I can't attack you.
Right, I'm too far away.
So because I can't, I am going to change this to guard. So I get +1 to my armor check fail on a 5-up next turn.
I'll go ahead and move to the last field that's face down.
Okay.
And then we're at the end of the second round. So the last card, again, gets taken away by the rift.
Okay. And so now we only have 4 options for the rest of the game.
Right.
Okay.
Take those back into our hand and start the next round.
Okay. Let's see. And so that's where you kind of have to start figuring out what you're going to do.
Right, yeah, you need to have some foresight, and then you're just at the mercy of the rifts and, your dice rolls and how the power is fluctuating as you're battling.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, I got my card down.
all right, so reveal.
All right. So you get to go first.
All right, so where am I gonna dash? You know what? I'm gonna endure. So you won't be able to push me this round. So I won't at least
Okay.
get that extra damage.
Okay. All right. But then I'm gonna attack you with my super, which is 2. I'm still on my next to my faction, and I'm green, so it's +1. So that's going to be 3 damage total.
All right, so this is it. If I can't have a
And so you'll have to roll.
armor save.
Then
All
you
right.
saved.
Yep. So 2, and then because I endured, you didn't get to push me. So by the skin of my teeth, I'm still in the game.
So it says if I'm unable to push you, you get -1 spark instead.
Right. So for endure, that's the one that'll kind of change
But it
that for you. So you
nullifies.
ignore
Yeah.
any special effects like push and pull for
See,
that
so
activation and the next
that's
one.
why it's important.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to check both sides of your command cards and understand
Yeah.
the choices you have at the moments.
Okay.
Okay, so next card.
All right, I'm ready.
Let's reveal. Ah, man. So you dodged my super.
Yes, sir.
Assuming you don't want to boost.
Nope.
All right, so
But
next card.
yeah, so let's see. All right,
Let's reveal.
I'm going
So,
to change that to dash.
an all boost.
Okay, so I am going to go right here. I'm going to gain 1 spark. And then that's it.
All right, last card again.
Okay.
All right, reveal. All right.
You get to go first.
You're out of range. So there's nothing I can do about that. And then you can move anywhere you like.
Okay. And I'm going
And
to
because I activated
move.
first, you can move adjacent to me and I still won't be able to attack you since my attack was
Okay.
activated first.
Okay. And so there I am. I've moved. And so now
That's
the
right.
last card goes back to disabled zone.
Now we're in the 4th round. Not many choices depending on team here. Let's see, where's rotate.
All right.
Let's let me do. There we go.
You ready?
Ready to go.
All right.
Hmm.
So you get to choose first.
I'm gonna go ahead and dodge that one.
Smart move. Smart move.
Yeah. Nice.
All
Next
right.
activation. Next card.
Yep. Next. All right.
Reveal. All right.
Okay. So I get to move 1 nano field away, or I can endure, which is ignore the special. No. So I'll go right here. I'll gain 1 health, and then it's your turn.
All right. I'll use super. So I'm at 1, which is the gray power node. So it's +1 plus the super.
Yep.
And my base power. So 3 power.
Okay.
That's what so you roll for your armor.
That works. So I get to take 2 damage.
Right. And then
You get to push me.
Uh,
So I take another damage because you can't push
yeah,
me
you'll take
away,
another
right?
damage. So I can't push you farther away, so you're right up against the ring. All
All right.
right, and then the last card. Reveal.
All right. So I am going to. So here's the thing: if I use boost now, will it carry over to the next round?
So no, just because at that point it's the new round and it'll already have
Okay.
been disabled.
Makes sense to me.
At
Then
that
that's
point.
that's one of those things that all right.
Right, and
So
then you
then
did use it as your last card now, so you don't have the option to dodge any of my incoming blows.
yes, yes.
But now I am
And so
kind of stuck. I don't have any more command cards that'll let me move around too much.
yeah. Okay. All right. So then we get to do our next one.
Yep. There.
Okay.
Reveal.
All right.
So, yep, I'm gonna go ahead and dodge that.
Okay. And then we
Next
just do our
card,
last one. Okay.
reveal. And so you can move anywhere.
I can move anywhere,
Well, any one.
or I'm going to endure.
All right. So I'm still at 1, so it's that +1, so it's 3 power.
Uh-huh.
And
I
so you'll be
roll.
doing this.
All right.
Nice. So only
I
2
only
damage.
take 2 damage, and I don't take the extra damage because you can't push me.
Because you endured. Yep.
All right. So now that one's disabled.
And so now I'm glad we're getting to the point where we'll actually be able to see a wild. So we only have 1 choice.
Okay.
And so we flip that. I'll be dodging.
And I'll be sprinting because so I can
Yeah,
go
actually,
to.
that's really smart move. You can jump all the way across the field if you want.
Yep, that's exactly where I was going. I was going to get that extra 2 health.
Yeah, I'm not looking too high.
All right. And so now we're done, right?
Okay, so now our cards are all consumed by the rift.
Yes.
And so now our nanoids have become wild. So
Okay.
with that, I think the best way to do it is to select all your cards and there's a way to shuffle here, and I forgot.
Z.
See, yes. So yeah, so put all your cards into the activation zone, and then I just like to press Z a couple of times. And
Okay, that makes sense.
in real life, we would be shuffling them and just creating a deck of cards that we now are drawing from. So our nanoids have gone, completely haywire. They're not listening to us anymore. So all we
Okay.
can do is kind of watch them as they go about their business. And so we'll be
Okay.
activating
From left
from
to
the
right.
farthest left each time.
Okay.
So the first one, what are the odds?
I know, right?
So we'll go ahead and roll for the nanoids to see who activates first out of the glitch.
Okay.
So I got 1. So from there, I don't have any extra power. It's 2, so a total of 3. So go ahead and do an armor roll for that.
So would it be because it says you use Ultra if it's on its faction node?
Oh, the Ultra is the other side of the card. So the Ultra would be the Giga Blast, the last special move on the card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're on
unless it's
the
face
atomic,
up on that side, then that's how it goes. Okay.
right? Yes,
Okay.
so that's the +2 at the range 3 plus my base 1 power. So that'll be 3 power total. And so you can
Okay.
armor save that to see if it's 2.
Nope. Or
Take
can I use
3.
my skill?
Yeah, you can reroll.
Okay. All right, so that worked.
Yeah.
So take 2. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you'll be
And
hitting me
then
in turn.
So for this one, it says okay, use Ultra if it's on its faction node, but I used the Mega, which is the range 3, attack 2. Since I'm next to the faction, we also get that, so it's +1, so 3. 4.
To get 4 attack. Yeah, so that means even if I rolled a good one for him, it doesn't matter. I am out.
Okay. And so
And
now
you won.
well, there we go.
Yes, so that is the base. That is the core of a rumble pack. So out of the pack, this is the experience, and you get the 2 nanoids, you get a field, you get your 6 command cards for each player, and then the accompanying nanofield cards and faction cards. And from this, any other pack can be combined. You can mix the nanofields, and so they'll be randomly strewn about. You can combine them to make bigger arenas. We don't always have to have the 7 hex flower formation. It can get much larger with the. I've been primarily testing it and finding that 3 combined total is good. But you can also combine several and then just draw from that pool of hexes, so that you might not have your faction, or you might not have this hexagon or this nano field, depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
And then
So it seems it was actually, once we kind of got going, it was pretty easy to pick up. It's definitely something that you could teach somebody in like one playthrough, and they'll kind of get the understanding of it for the basic Rumble pack. Um, and a lot of the characters that you have, they're all different at that point, right? So is this kind of like the beginner difficulty level, and then all the other ones are different?
Yeah, so alpha has the highest sparks that you can have, where other ones, they most of them float around the 8 mark, and the ones that have less sparks, in turn have more power or more speed, and then their abilities are a lot more different. Alpha is pretty straightforward. He can reroll because he's lucky with his programming,
Yeah.
and he has a ranged attack with his blaster arm and the rocket punch. But Ninjak has ninja abilities. He's more adept at dodging while being a lot faster. So his tactics involve kind of area control, trying to make sure you're on the right hex at the right moment to deal as much damage as you can. And then you have others like Trex, where he's trying to stay as close to you as he can, because he has the consume ability, where every time he attacks you and does damage to you while he's adjacent, he heals one of his sparks. So everyone kind of has a different thing going on, and then you're building your team from this menagerie of nanoids to tailor your tactics, and then choosing the colors. There's all these different layers that kind of are involved into it, so it'll really lend itself well to higher level play with people that really know what they're doing and are trying to make sure they win that match in like a
Yeah.
tournament setting, where it really becomes like a game of skill and tactics versus just complete random drawing of your cards and hoping for the best with a traditional game for the most part.
Okay. Well, yeah, this was it was great getting a chance to talk with you, and
No,
I
definitely.
know
Thank you for
that.
having me. Really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Well, and so the link to the Kickstarter is going to be in the description below for anyone that's watching right now. Even if you missed the live stream, all the information is going to be down there. I'm going to also make sure I go back and include a link so that they can come play the game if they want to play it and try it out online. Um,
Awesome.
but before we go, one of the other things I want to ask you about was the online component to the game, because there's actually more to it than just playing around here, right?
Right. Yeah. So the packs are the physical component, and it's primarily a physical real world game. But we do have the online component, and then the website is actually more than meets the eye. It has a community aspect to it, and when you register and become a registered nanoid operator, you then have a rank assigned to you, and you start out at the lowly rubber rank, just like your nanoids. You're
Yeah.
pliable and ready to be molded into a hardened veteran. And as you're playing matches with people that are also registered, you're able to log those matches. And the way it works is, if you lose a match, you input that the winner's username into the battle report, and you'll both in turn get credits and battle zenny, and all of that goes towards ranking up, and then climbing the leaderboards and things like that. And every Nano Battle pack, no matter what pack it is, has a passcode underneath the lid, and you'll be able to enter that on the website, and that'll activate a quest line specific to that pack. And it revolves around playing the game a certain way, or interacting with different things, and just to make sure that you get the full experience from that pack, and you'll get the quests and the badges and things like that. So it's a whole big thing. It started out a lot smaller, but as I did all the web development myself, and I'm hosting it on a cloud server, so it's private
Yeah.
and it's secure. So it's set up to be a pretty unique experience that is completely optional, but it adds so much more to the entire experience of being, a nanoid operator, and battling with these little guys. And
It really helps in this world of being online for more things nowadays, that even if someone were to buy the solo game, they could continue to do some online matches with people even if they can't find anyone nearby to play. And then you
right.
have this whole online ranking system to kind of keep everyone engaged even after they get the game and they've done everything that they think they can. There's always more to do.
Right, and yeah, and the site is it's a full membership site. So when you're a member, like, there's areas that are locked behind, where you can't access it unless you're a specific type of member or you have a certain rank. And so as battle or rumble packs and everything, as they get released, those packs will then become available online. And I'm still working out how I'm going to make it where we can combine them the same as if we were playing in person. But I'm going to be setting up different permutations of all the different ways you could play with them, so that you'll be able to have close to the same experience online, with your friends across, in another country or another state. And so you're not missing out on anything. And then you'll always be able to play solo because it's built right into the system and is. I like it. I liken it more to a puzzle game when you're playing solo because the
Yeah.
AI works in a very specific way. Whereas when we're battling, we're trying to kind of outwit each other and and play up to what you think someone's going to be doing. But with a
Yeah.
wild nano, it truly is wild. You have no idea what it's going to do next. So I like that it's two different experiences, but it is exactly the same game no matter what.
Yeah. And so if everyone will just go ahead and they'll go follow the project, keep tuned because you can look on the Facebook page and some other places and you can see all the different character designs that he has made and he has ready to go for this game. This is going to be a fully polished game ready to come right out of the box. It's not something that he's having to work on some more at this exact moment. He's not presenting just an idea. He's presenting a game. He's presenting a community and all kinds of different things with it.
Yeah, this isn't just Nano Battle. It's Nano Battle. Like, we're going to be ready to go.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. If you liked it, go ahead and just follow and stay